Direct News TV. January 26, 2024. Propaganda, provocation, did Ukraine down a plane with its POWs aboard? Kyiv, Ukraine, 2 days after a Russian military cargo plane was shot down near the Ukrainian border, unanswered questions loom as Moscow and Kyiv offer starkly conflicting versions, and insufficient proof. Moscow claimed the Il-76, with 65 Ukrainian war prisoners on board, was about to land in the western city of Belgorod on Wednesday in advance of a swap later that day. It purported that Ukrainian air defense forces in the nearby Kharkiv region shot the plane down with 2 missiles. Russian lawmaker Andrei Kartopolov claimed 3 missiles were shot either from a US-made Patriot air defense complex or from a German-made Iris-T system. Ukrainian leaders knew very well about the swap, were informed how their prisoners would be delivered, but the Il-76 plane was shot down by 3 missiles, he reportedly said. Moscow alleged that all the Ukrainian prisoners, 3 Russian guards that escorted them, and 6 crew members had been killed when the plane crashed near the village of Yablanova. The Ukrainska Pravda news website quoted an unnamed military official saying that the downed plane was their job, but the laconic report was soon removed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky did not say who or what could have downed the plane, but called for an internal investigation and accused Russia of playing with the lives of Ukrainian prisoners. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov retorted by saying that, if Zelensky means an international investigation into the criminal actions of the Kyiv regime, then one is indeed needed. Margarita Simonyan, one of the main Kremlin backers who heads the media network Russia Today, posted the alleged list of 65 POWs on her Telegram channel. Kyiv said that it had planned a prisoner exchange that day. It did not confirm the authenticity of the list shared by Simonyan, but said that one person on it had already been swapped earlier this month. Ukraine insisted Russia provided no information about the plane that in fact had been carrying missiles for S-300 air defense systems. Mobile phone videos presumably shot near the crash site showed the burning plane and traces of smoke allegedly left by a Ukrainian missile. Another video of the plane's alleged debris showed no traces of bodies. Meanwhile, allegations abounded that Russia would kill captured Ukrainian servicemen kept in Russian prisons and place their remnants in the downed plane's debris to provide proof of Kyiv's war crime. They have the prisoners on the ground and would have to kill them, mess up their bodies and mix the remnants with the plane's debris, a Ukrainian military official told Al Jazeera on condition of anonymity. A top Ukrainian military expert agreed. To prove their point, Russians may go very far, including the liquidation of these war prisoners and the dismemberment of their bodies, Lieutenant General Ihor Romanenko, former deputy chief of Ukraine's General Staff of Armed Forces, told Al Jazeera. He said that there is a high probability that Ukrainian air defense forces downed the plane, but there was too little evidence to prove it, and to say for sure who and what was on board the plane before it was shot down. But Romanenko, who spent decades in air defense forces, said that he had personally seen how 2 missiles from an S-200 or S-300 complex can fit into an Il-76 cargo plane, a seasoned Soviet warhorse that can carry up to 40 tons. He said that Moscow staged a provocation with the plane and will hardly agree to conduct an independent investigation. The incident reminded him of the July 17, 2014, downing of the Malaysian MH17 plane with 298 passengers and crew on board by pro-Moscow separatists in the Donbass region. The separatists and pro-Russian residents in the area said days after the disaster that the CIA loaded hundreds of dead and pre-frozen bodies onto the plane to frame Moscow. An international investigation based on the analysis of wreckage and intercepted phone calls concluded that the plane was destroyed by the Russia-supplied Buk surface-to-air missile. Investigators said later that there were strong indications that Russian President Vladimir Putin approved the delivery of the Buk complex to the separatists. Russian propaganda statements. Another Ukrainian analyst said that after losing the plane this week, Russia decided to start a propaganda campaign while hiding evidence of what really had happened. What we see is Russian propaganda statements, an obvious information psychological campaign against Ukraine and a lack of proof of the Russian version, Volodymyr Fesenko, head of the Penta think tank in Kiev, told Al Jazeera. Russia did not present the bodies of the 65 POWs, and Ukrainian intelligence official Andriy Yusov said that only 5 bodies had been delivered to the Belgorod morgue. Moscow also said that only 3 guards escorted 6 war prisoners, something that contradicts information about earlier prisoner swaps when each Russian guard escorted 3 or 4 Ukrainians. There are way too many inconsistencies, Fesenko said. To him and other observers, Russia's claim were reminiscent of the July 2022 incident in the Olenivka camp for war prisoners near the Moscow-occupied city of Donetsk. Moscow claimed that Ukraine launched a US-made HIMARS missile that hit the camp killing 62 and wounding 130 Ukrainians. Pro-Kremlin media claimed that Kiev deliberately killed the POWs who could have testified about the war crimes they had allegedly committed during the 2022 siege of Mariupol. But Moscow refused to allow finding missions sent by the United Nations and the International Red Cross to enter the facility. Meanwhile, media analyses based on satellite imagery and post-explosion photos and videos of the prison indicated that Russia's claims were fabricated and the building was destroyed by a bomb blown up inside the building. However, an international observer offered a sobering explanation of how the latest disaster could have been caused by a dire lack of coordination between Ukrainian military agencies. One military agency was preparing the usually secret prisoner swap. Another military agency in a no less secret mode moved a Patriot or something similar to the Russian border because it knew that something big and heavy was flying beyond it, Nikolai Mitrokhin of Germany's Bremen University told Al Jazeera. And as soon as they saw the Il-76 plane on their monitors, it didn't occur to anyone to call Kiev and ask whether a prisoner swap was in the works and could, the prisoners, be on that plane, he said. Meanwhile, a Russian lawmaker claimed that some of the Ukrainian war prisoners on the plane had lambasted Kiev's war policies, and that Kiev deliberately destroyed the plane to warn Ukrainian servicemen not to surrender. Ukraine created the provocation deliberately so that its nationals don't surrender, Russian lawmaker Alexei Zuravlyev reportedly said on Wednesday. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post, you won't regret it.